Why does this person look healthy and this one, well, doesn't? Our vision is highly attuned to recognize healthiness in individuals. We've had hundreds of thousands of years of practice. We're really good at it. So seeing even small deviations from that can have a big impact on our enjoyment of a film or video. We're going to show you how to color correct your footage to create natural looking skin tones using the powerful tools in Colorfinale 2 Pro, a color grading plugin for Final Cut Pro. Download the free 7-day trial to follow along, link in the description. We can all agree that there probably isn't such a thing as a perfect skin tone in videography, but we can consider a job well done when skin tones read well within the context of a scene. The best thing anyone can do to promote this is to get as much as possible done well in camera at the time of shooting. That, along with primary color correction, where you set the appropriate exposure and white balance, might just in itself fix the appearance of skin. But of course, in practice, in your color grading role, you will inevitably be faced with footage that needs a lot of work. Colorfinale 2 Pro has everything you need to help you create high-quality results. So when down in the trenches, you'll be using various tools to inspect, then change the luma, hue, and saturation values of an image. We'll go through several of these shortly. To evaluate the result, you'll use your eyes as well as the built-in video scopes. Scopes give an additional way to analyze a video image and can be invaluable to getting quality and repeatable results across multiple clips. The waveform monitor shows luminosity levels, or tones. It's great for checking black levels and highlights. In RGB parade mode, it's also useful for white balancing, since each color channel is displayed separately. Then it's easy to see what the effects of a parameter change are on a single channel, for example on red. Now the vector scope is basically a color wheel that displays the hue and saturation, or chroma. Glancing at it, you can easily see if there is any overall color cast and how saturated the colors are. The closer to the edge, the more saturated. Pair these scopes with Colorfinale's image analysis tools to discretely analyze any part of the image. This is where it gets good for skin tone work. For example, if we isolate the face, you can see that the vector scope only shows those colors that are within the image analysis mask. And same for luma waveform, but for tone instead of color. Quick side note, you must always have the plugin selected in the inspector to see Colorfinale's on-screen controls and graphics, like these image analysis tools. This is how modern Final Cut Pro interacts with all plugins. To keep our focus on skin tones, the following example material has already been brought into the Reg 709 video color space. This gives us a working tonal range, or contrast. So let's set the exposure and white balance first. Under soft sunlight, ideal skin tone falls between 40 and 70 IRE. Turn on image analysis. Now, use the exposure parameter to adjust to somewhere within this range. Next, white balance. Keep the waveform scope open, but change it to RGB parade. Use the temperature and tint parameters, or pick a neutral gray if there is one, for auto white balance. Now, the image might look balanced, and if the skin tone looks correct, then fantastic. But chances are the overall image exposure and white balance may look good, but something is off about the skin. It's not as full of life as we'd want it to be. So we'll need to target the skin and work from there. Here's what we can do about that. Time for secondary corrections. 6 vectors exposes hue, saturation and luminosity parameters for 6 colors: red, green, blue, cyan, magenta and yellow. That's the primary and secondary colors. Let's have a look at the vector scope again. Do you notice anything? All these colors are actually marked as targets on the scope. There is a one-to-one connection. Human skin is predominantly in the reds and yellows, no matter the talent's complexion. So let's adjust these 2 colors. Because this task is generally hugely important, there is a predefined skin tone line that you can show on the vector scope. So while we have the image analysis mask turned on, It's just a matter of intuitively matching what's displayed on the vector scope with the line. Quick and effective. You can also use the HSL Curves tool to target and modify skin tones. Keep the vector scope open. Use the Hue versus Hue tab to shift skin tone towards red or magenta. Command-click on the line to add points along the curve. However, you might find this more useful. Sample the middle tone with the color picker. You'll get an automatic set of modifiable control points to work with. And use Hue versus Sat to adjust saturation. But it has to be said, this is a very precise tool. Watch out for artifacts as a result of big adjustments. For example, banding between close colors. For convenience, you might find that 6 vectors works best for 90% of the tasks. And you can supplement that with an HSL curves layer for the fine-tuning at the end. Camera Matrix is designed for fine independent adjustments to the hue and saturation of the red, green and blue channels. This functionality enables precise control over primary color components, making it useful for a wide range of color correction tasks, such as skin tone adjustments. It lets you modify primary colors without affecting the overall white balance, which is essential for fine-tuning colors without disrupting the entire image. Simply adjust the red channel's hue and saturation sliders until the colors align with the skin tone line. Perfect. In one of the latest updates to Colorfinale 2 Pro, we introduced exciting new film emulation tools, including halation and bloom. But for now, let's focus on the Subtractive grading tool. You don't have to be doing film emulation to use Subtractive grading. It's just one of the features available to you and happens to be based on a traditional analog method. It can be incredibly helpful for adjusting skin tones. By working on magenta and yellow, you can achieve a clean, accurate skin tone with minimal effort. The examples we've covered so far were relatively straightforward. But what if the corrections for the skin tone affect the background as well? If, on the rare occasion, your character and the set share a similar tint, all adjustments to the skin will clearly affect the colors of the set in the same way. In such cases, masks such as the AI person mask are likely to be your best friend. They let you isolate the talent, so you can adjust the skin tones without impacting the rest of the image. Simply apply the person mask to a layer group, then move or add your corrections inside. Combine person mask with an HSL mask to also exclude clothing and accessories. But sometimes, skin tones don't need to be technically perfect. Skin tone correction is part of color correction, ensuring consistency and realism. But color grading is an artistic choice that sets the mood and style of a project. The skin tone line is a suggestion, not a rule. Not everyone is standing under soft sunlight all the time. Color grading isn't just about correction, it's about storytelling. Consider these examples. Oppenheimer. The skin tones lean toward orange, yet the scene feels cinematic and intentional. Gone Girl. Slight desaturation underlines the unsettling mood of this thriller. American Primeval. Muted skin tones reinforce the raw aesthetic of the series. We hope this video helps you better understand how to achieve great-looking skin tones. Consider subscribing to our channel for more tutorials and updates on Colorfinale 2 Pro. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Goodbye.